Okay, let's get going. It's 11:03,
Great.
and so everybody have success watching the video. Anybody that didn't, raise your hand or unmute. Okay, all right, perfect. Today's gonna be a little bit different than we've done before, and so we want you guys to kind of maybe bear with us a little bit, because we're going to be trying. We're going to be doing something that there's a guy at my door with a big broom, so no idea.
You need to get it. I can take over.
Just hang on one second. I'll be back.
Well, we are very fortunate because, like, we know we're a little ahead of you guys in this, and so we've been watching some of the episodes before you, and so it just gets better and better. So I'm glad you're able to watch the videos. Today, what she was saying, we have a few different things. One, we're going to be doing breakout rooms. Here, I'm going to mute her. We're going to be doing breakout rooms to talk about the subjects today, and that's experiment number one, because we've never done breakout rooms before, so bear with me on that. And also, this is literally the first Buffini class that we've done via Zoom that we didn't watch it together. We trusted you guys all to do it. Thank you for doing it. That's great. And now we're just getting together to discuss it. So that's the first time ever. So Carol, I muted you. And Steve's in the room now. So did you hear me, Carol? I muted you.
Sorry, it was the our quarterly pest control guy. So anyway,
I was telling him, well, I took advantage of the moment, Carol, and I just told him how we're going to do breakout rooms and how that's the first time we've ever done that. So bear with us. Perfect. And also, this is literally the first time we've done a Zoom Buffini class where we didn't watch it together. So thank you all for doing the homework. That was properly.
You know what? We trust you. This is an advanced class. We want to make the most of your time, and this is the kind of class that Tim and I are in, that cuts to the chase. You do the stuff on your own. If you don't do it, you didn't do it. And we want you to be held responsible to yourself, because you're investing 8 weeks of your time. So with that in mind, one of the first things that we had talked about that we're going to be doing this week is we're going to be assigning accountability partners. So I want to address that first before we get into like the review of what we've done for the last week, and then break you guys off. So we thought a lot about the accountability partners. We had a few requests. We had a few requests that were different than the person that they requested. We had requests for whoever you think. And so what we decided to do was go through the list. And this was not an easy thing to do, is to go through the list and make sure that the number one thing that we were providing in each one of these matchups was both a give and a take on both sides. We didn't want to put a brand, not brand new, but a really, really new agent with a really, really older agent, older in the years of business, mature in the business agent,
seasoned.
That would not help each other. We want everybody to find something that they walk away from every one of your encounters and meetings that helps them grow, whether they're in a team, whether they're running a team, whether they're just starting, whether they're independent, whether they're part-time, I don't care. So that's the way that we put these together. So I'll read these off, and so you guys write it down, because you're going to have some tasks to do around this. And then we'll send you a copy of this. Tim, that email that I sent over to you and Rhonda that has this on it, Rhonda, you can just turn around and send this to the group. Just exactly like the way it's written. So Darla Bankston and Serena McNeil, Ethan Brown and Jennifer Tucker, Kara Crawford and Sarah Pierce, Dawn Grimshaw and Misty Hemphill Wilson, Paulina, and I think she's also got Andy in there too. So this is a double wham here. And Emily Ware, Sam Lawrenson and Terry Pruitt, Krista Luther and Sarah Meyer Pavel, Jane McNeil, Ben Schmale, Laura Osborne, Julie Thurston. And Jennifer Waxberg and Jessica Walker, I know you guys work together. I put you together because I know that your time is limited. But if you want to interact with other duos, and anybody who wants to interact and have meetings with other paired up people, 3 pairs of people, it doesn't matter. You guys are welcome to do however you want to do this. But what we want you to do as accountability partners with your accountability partner is to schedule and prioritize, that's the most important, a weekly meeting of some kind. I would suggest that you schedule it on Zoom because getting somewhere, finding the right place to meet, all those things in between, the time that you waste might not be convenient for you. So just a heads up. Worst case scenario, get on the phone, but try to be face to face and try to make sure that you allot that time, that you don't schedule over it, that it's not a constant like, well, I can't meet this week because I got clients. I can't. Make it a time that you know it's gonna work weekly for you. It's only 8 weeks that we're doing this.
Well, the nice thing, if I may interject, Carol, everybody in this room has taken a Buffini class, not necessarily with us. It really was a game changer when we started having accountability partners, because it made everybody accountable for obvious reasons. And so that's the reason we push it so hard, because the more we push it, the more likely you are to meet your accountability partner on a weekly basis, the more likely you're going to get out of this class. So exactly. That's the reason we push it. So.
And the idea is to go deeper. One of the things my coach always says at the very beginning of every single one of our conversations is, what do you want to get out of this today? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to get out of this today? So that's one of my suggestions, is that you ask each other that at the beginning of the conversation, because you can keep the conversation, you can burn up an hour talking about, oh my God, I had this buyer this week and I had this seller this week. And, every one of us has that dialogue. This is about bouncing off each other with ideas. And yeah, if that means that you use some particular experience, that's great too. You guys will figure this out. But what do you want to go deep into with every week? What challenges are you feeling before you start? How can your partner help you get them out of the way? What is working that you can do more of? And how can you help each other? So 50-50 partnership. Give, take. Any one of us would love a forum where all we get to do is just like pull from the other person who's maybe they're a really, really good advisor and trusted. But what we want is sometimes through listening and helping somebody else, you'll get bonus learning that you didn't even think about. So, and there's a lot of fundamentals that, one of the things I love about first-time homebuyers and first-time realtors is there's a lot of fundamentals that they ask that I need to remember are still there, that I have to think about, and that I need to sometimes change my perspective on. So everybody got that? Okay. So Rhonda put out an email to you guys and also posted it on Facebook. And it was regarding last week's class, the video, the discussion, which was, you guys remember the name of that class last week?
Mining for diamonds.
Mining the diamonds.
Acres for diamonds. Yeah, mining for diamonds. And it's from the book Acres of Diamonds, within your database. And so we asked a question on how are you having success as it relates to the 3 categories that Brian talked about, which is your advocates, your business owners, and your influencers. We were looking for some feedback so we could use that to kind of tee up some subjects to start with today. I think we got one thing from Emily, asked a question about influencers, and I didn't see any other questions come through or any other conversation. Tim, did you, or
No.
Rhonda?
No.
Okay, so for the sake of that, I would really appreciate if you guys would interact with those emails as we send them to you. We're trying to add some questions to you that make you think beyond, okay, I just went to a class and watched a video. So additionally, if you aren't having success, what are you hung up on, and or what is what is in your way? So those are conversations that we're going to have you guys go into the breakout room and talk about. But for right now, Emily, you had a question about influencers, and why don't you go ahead and talk about what you were asking?
Yeah, I just am having a hard time figuring out like understanding what he's talking about with influencers. Basically, like who are the influencers in my life? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's just what I'm having a hard time doing.
Okay.
You
So,
don't mean, you're just having a hard time identifying who they are, not what he means by it.
Exactly.
Okay.
so do you have name one influencer in your life?
Well, that's what I'm confused about is who is he, like, for example, I think there was a snippet in his thing that talked about with influencers being like someone who has he was talking about like other agents, right? But then he was also talking about like people that have maybe like a social media following. Is that correct? Am I hearing correct?
Yeah.
It's like
I have like, go ahead.
coaches and ministers and people that have contact to lots of people that refer you over and over again, business owners, things like that.
I have an influencer, someone I'd consider an influencer in my circle who was a past client, who is also a business owner and talks about me all the time on social media. She refers her clients to me. She's a hairdresser. And and she's also involved in a lot of like local community and political groups that I'm also in. So there's a lot of kind of, I hate the word synergy, but we're constantly crossing paths and she's always connecting me. So I consider her an influencer. Big network. It's not just her personal referrals.
Okay, that's perfect. Give me,
Loan officers would be put into that as well.
what did you say?
Like lenders. Sorry, there's a screaming baby in the background. I'm sorry. Like lenders, would they be put into that category?
Yes.
Okay.
So here's my overall take, but I want to hear you guys talk about people that or particular positions that you find people in who are and continue to be influencers. Is an influencer is somebody who has the trust of other people to guide them. They are the people that you go to. I go to, okay, for instance, if I was looking for more business in the Midtown area, and I was, not part of all this, I would go and look at where is the place that people are hanging out and identifying with in Midtown. Like, where's some of those places, and who are the insurance people that work there? Who are the people that provide services there to a mass amount of people and have built a referral business themselves? Who are those people? That's a person of influence, because they build their business based on that particular area that they are. And like I think Ethan said, ministers, for heaven's sakes, like, who doesn't take a recommendation from their minister if they trust them? Their coach, their some other people's parents. You look at somebody's life that's really working, why would you not see that person as somebody who is a trusted advisor to some other people? So you make one person happy, and if that person has a good amount of people around them, they could be considered a person of influence. I will tell you that there are some people that, even though they have a huge amount of people around them, they would never, ever, ever make a referral, because they don't want to be responsible for it, or they're stuck on that old thinking of, Don't do business with family and don't do business with friends. And, those old things that are running. Those may be very influential people within their trusted circle, but they're never going to pull you into it and put their name on the line for you. So who would put their name to you? So who would put their name to you? And know that giving you as a referral or a recommendation would make them look good and not embarrass them. So that's an overall category.
That helps you guys.
Talk about some people that you think are influencers. The rest of you. Sam?
I think, I mean, obviously I have my pastor down just because that would be someone that I, already have a connection with.
Mhm.
Any kind of community, I kind of kept the for-profit separate just because that's in the business section, but I did any nonprofits like over here in Glenwood and Mills County, like the Storehouse, or just, different things like that you can partner with as far as having some sort of influencers that will also back you when you kind of give to them as well.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I think we're going to break you guys off now. It's 11. It'll be 11:20 when Tim hits the button. And we'll give you 15 minutes. Tim? 10 minutes, 15.
Well, I think we might be able to give a little bit more because
we want to come back and let
share.
a rep from each one share.
Well, why don't we do 20 minutes and then 20 minutes because that's
Okay.
20.
We're going to give you 20 minutes in the room. What'll happen is, go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say, and before we do that, can you remind them what the subjects are? Can you go over that?
Yes, I'm going to. All right. So we want you to go in there and talk about what are you having success with in relationship to advocates, business owners, and influencers. And if you're not, or you're just beginning, what part is hanging you up and what's in your way? So I want you guys to talk to each other about that. So share anything that's working, share what's not working, ask questions. But initially, one of you take the lead and start in the room. We're not going to assign like monitors of the room, and just start and introduce yourself, just who you are again. You guys can even share phone numbers if you want to do that. And then answer those questions. Remember, you've got 20 minutes. There'll be probably 5 people in each room. A couple of them will have 6. Tim, is it going to be 4 rooms? 5
Well, how
rooms?
many do you want? Because at the moment I'm down to 3. I can do whatever.
3 rooms?
How about 6 rooms of 4 each? How does that sound?
6 rooms of 4. Let's start off with 6 rooms of 4.
Okay.
And then Tim and I, well, I don't know if I can too, because I put host over to him, but one of us can pop into the room to see how you guys are doing too.
Exactly.
But
and then just plan on coming back, and then one of you volunteer to share some of your good ideas with the rest.
You'll get a message on the screen that says the host is giving you 1 minute. It's time to come back in the breakout room, and you'll have 60 seconds when the clock, and you'll watch the clock when the clock goes down. It'll automatically, it's like Star Wars. You just be automatically sucked back into the room. So, and then we'll come back, and whoever it was that kind of took the lead, make sure you're taking notes so that you can come back and share what you guys, some summary of what you guys got out of it. And we're going to make this work. Okay.
Yep.
So
Okay,
bear with us. We're co-creating here, but we love this format. It really works for when Tim and I have experienced for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And I think you guys are going to like it too. And you're going to also get to know other people, because the rooms just get scrambled. So, okay.
Okay, sounds good. By the
You
way,
ready?
Carol, you're about to go into one of the rooms.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can
All
back
right.
out if you want. All right.
Are we there? Okay.
We're coming.
Here we go. It was
Can
different.
we just have Misty on as like so we can see the background of the beach and Misty? I mean, I miss
There you
Misty
go.
too.
Oh, wow.
I
Fine,
haven't
Julie.
seen her in a
Misty.
few weeks.
Face. Now you can see my hot husband.
I
Sorry, Ollie. It's a little white.
You look like you're getting a little sun, Misty. So Tim, the breakout room, you know how when it usually says, there was a little green thing up at the top, you know, how it usually like the clock starts winding down. It didn't have a wind down clock.
I figured it out. At
Okay,
the very,
good. All
at
right,
the very
great.
end.
Great. No, that was perfect.
Yeah. Just like I didn't figure out how I could bounce in between rooms until the very end. So
Yeah.
I didn't do it, but I figured it out.
Okay, good.
That was fun.
Did you
That
guys
was
have a
fun.
good time?
Yeah, that
I
was
just
fun.
got here. It was awesome.
Good.
Hope everybody else enjoyed it. Hope you were all productive and got some good stuff out of it. And hope you're willing to share some stuff.
So Tim, you have the list of all the who was in the breakout rooms. So we need to just do breakout room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then
Oh, there we are. Yeah, I was thinking.
the
of
room
double
I
check.
was in, I kind of was modeling what you do to be the lead person, and then gave it to Julie. So like Julie will be the speaker in our room. I don't know who the speakers are in each room, but what we do at this point is we ask for, whoever was in breakout room number 1, who's going to speak for them. You get on, you kind of give a summation of what people were talking about, and maybe something that, some ahas. And you can also call on anybody else that was in that room with you to add to it. If you think they have something that they should share with everybody else, maybe some really good thing that they're doing, or, some technique that they're using. So, Tim, do you want to?
Yeah, so let's get started. So I'll get started. So let's start with room 5. That was your room. So Julie Thurston, why don't you go ahead and that room was Julie, Carol Sousa, Jennifer Tucker, and Sam Lauritsen. So
Yep. Carol talked about being an influencer. I thought that was a great idea to kind of model that for our clients, and also kind of get people, so people know how to do that. Let's see. Jennifer Tucker had a great idea about writing notes to business owners who take good care of our clients. I love that idea. That's a great idea, which I don't always do. I mean, we refer people to our clients, but I'm not always great about making sure that I acknowledge those business owners and thank them for taking care of our clients. We did have some challenges for everybody who was business owners, and a little bit with trying to figure out, like we already talked about, influencers. I mentioned that one thing I had done in 2019 was I tried really hard to build relationships with business owners, and then I turned my item of value into like a newsletter kind of thing. And one of the things I did in my newsletter was did a spotlight for a small business owner every month. And I need to get back to building that, because you only have so many, and and all of us kind of said we've had most success figuring out like who our advocates were, but those were fairly easy for all of us.
Good.
anybody else in that group that wants to talk? Room 6, 5, I mean. Yes. Okay.
I think the main thing that I heard from that group, and Jen, you can speak to this, is so many people, somebody said, even Jennifer said, she said, I haven't experienced that kind of success yet as an influencer, so I'm not sure what the model looks like. So I think that, and that goes back to Emily's question in the beginning, is what the hell is an influencer? So that, I think cracking that egg open is going to be monumental change in how you operate.
Yeah, so if anyone can roadmap that for us, that would be great.
Get it. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay, good stuff. Okay, well, let's go. Let's get on to our next room. Let's start with room number 1. That was Ben Smale, Kara Crawford, Sarah Pearson, Steve Solovek. I'm not exactly sure who was the leader, but can one of you speak up?
Yes, no problem. So we said we didn't want to use so much energy trying to so specifically delineate who's an advocate versus influencer versus business owner, and spend more, because they're all important. You know, the title they get is less significant than knowing who falls into that general group, and to be particular on who is a real life authentic person we can have be an advocate for our business. And it's funny, we knew what groupings kind of that one another had what I called a little bit of command of. Kara said Steve with the tattoo parlor, and I knew Kara had sort of a dominance on Instagram. And without, I mean, we're recognizing for each other where you are being influencing and have connection with. And I think a pitfall early on is to presume it become the realtor of choice, all sorts of groups of people, and you spend trying out everything. When once you sort of identify what you're good at and you connect with, so obviously we can tell in each other's lives where you have the best chances, then spend all your energy there. And we talked about, Steve and I, we wish we could break into certain coffee shops and be that whole coffee shop's realtor, but we don't have a chance. But Steve has tattoo parlor, I have CrossFit, Sarah has CrossFit. So let's put all of our energies where we know we're going to have some results, because it's okay if other realtors have influence in other areas, as long as in the ones we have the best shot at, we are really taking control of and caring about those people. So we just want real selective. So we're not spinning our wheels with people who we just have no business presuming we're going to be that organization's realtor of choice.
Fantastic. I love that. Great.
Totally
Anybody
true.
else from your group? Ben, you want to ask them if they have something to add? Anybody else?
It was a great conversation. I think from the challenge standpoint, we all kind of landed on consistency. I mean, one week you can feel really motivated and you've got all the calls and the notes going out. And then the next week it's, so just making sure that we've got some consistency and the wheel is always turning. But it was it was a really great conversation.
Good.
I'm glad to hear you say that. Thanks. That's great. Okay, in an essence of time, let's move on. Room number 2, Dawn Grimshaw, Jane McNeil, and Serena McNeil. Are your last names both McNeil?
Yes,
They're spelled different.
Just spelled different. I don't think I noticed that before.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. So one of you want to speak up?
I can speak up a little bit. These guys in our group, we had a good discussion, and some of what it sounds like Ben's group did too, in terms of it doesn't really matter what category your advocates, your business owners, and your influencers fall into. Sometimes they all overlap. Sometimes the label of what they're called is not important, but what they're doing for you and that it's working is good. In terms of, they gave me some good advice in terms of, I have people that I feel like would be good for my business, but I do have a hard time asking for the business. They gave me some pretty good tools and some good tactics so that I kind of get over myself and ask for the business. So I felt like that was very helpful for me. And sort of, we kind of ended it with Serena was saying she has a hard time making the phone calls, and that takes her most courage, and it's hard because she feels like she's asking for business and doesn't want to be like, I'm asking for business, but I am. So we kind of talked a little bit about feel like she's giving something of value in terms of she's giving them, reassurance and things like that. So those were sort of our discussion.
When you market yourself right and people know what you do, then at a certain level of your career, your presence is your offering of your services. You don't even have to say it anymore. once they establish who you are and they trust you and they know who you are. So yeah, just know that it's always uncomfortable to call people and to just ask for business. It is. I mean, it really is. Unless you're Jen Magilton, it's uncomfortable to just ask for the business. So, but it's a eternal struggle for all of us. But well done. Anybody else from that group that want to talk?
Serena had a really good idea on what to talk to your clients about safety. Serena, why don't you tell them what you said, because that was really good.
So when we started our conversation, Jane was having a little trouble how to approach close family that might be good sources of business for her. And with everything that happened with Mickey and industry changes and awareness about our safety, just prefacing conversations by, I know we're family and I don't really want to just ask you to send me business my way, but please know that safety is kind of a priority right now. And so having referrals that are well vetted and people know and trust come to me rather than, just like getting a message off Facebook or whatever that people are reaching out to you is kind of one way to just say, I just want to promote my own safety and make sure that the people that I'm dealing with are well known to other people that I trust. So just kind of one way of softening up the blow to here's my close friends and family and just asking them to keep us safe by helping our business with people they know.
Breaking the ice.
Yeah.
I love that. You know what, Tim, that would be a really great piece for our marketing department to do.
Yeah, that's a good piece. That's a good piece.
Perfect. I'd love for them to send that my way. That'd be great.
Yeah. Help me help myself, protect myself. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, very well done. Thank you.
This is gold.
It really is. I'm glad we're doing it this way. Okay, everybody, room 3, Allison Roach, Jennifer Waxberg, Krista Luther, and Rhonda. Would one of you ladies like to speak up?
I will. We really focused on the business owner, and I think that we all are, in the terms of being influencers, sending them business, sending referrals to them. But I think all of us kind of stall out in asking for it back. So we talked about different ways to create a more symbiotic relationship, asking for that referral. How do you even approach that? But we talked about some of the things that we talked about are like tagging them in social media and then so tagging them, like say if one of the things we talked about is I have a client that's a nurse, and I would send her cupcakes. So I would tag where she works and then also tag that business owner wherever I got those cupcakes from. So number one, it increases my reach, but it also is kind of putting everyone on notice, connecting all of those groups. But then, so I'm looking at my notes. Also too, we're just not asking. I mean, the number one thing is just asking for the business, making sure they know that we can take referrals too, that we're not too busy for referrals, that type of thing. Gosh, I think that also too, one of the things that we talked about is circling back with the business owner and like putting them on notice that you did send them a referral, and then also like making sure that was successful. So making sure that business owner, say if I sent my electrician a referral, to like let him know ahead of time, and then circling back on the backside of that, so that creates, a follow-up, but it's also another touch, just another way to touch that business owner.
Touch. That's the easiest touch. Hey, did that referral pan out? It's a reminder I referred them. Yeah, it's wonderful. Good job. Anybody else from that group that wants to speak up? Okay. Well, we have 5 minutes and 2 more rooms to go. So room number 4 with Ethan Brown, Misty, Sarah, Pavel, and Terry Pruitt. Would one of you like to speak up, please?
Sarah, were you talking or me or anybody else?
You guys can both share. Start it.
We were kind of talking about, like, I guess relating to businesses, it's more like, how can I help you? Not really ever thinking about how that helps you in return. Just always going into businesses and thinking, how can I be an advocate for you? And then that kind of just gives itself return. Mm-hmm. And then using businesses too for pop-bys and things like that. So you're kind of using ways to promote their business. amongst your database, and it kind of all, it gives them business, it gives you business, everyone's happy. Then we also talked about like having a relationship with something maybe you experience, like a divorce. So you're like experienced with a divorce, like a law, firm or divorce counselor that maybe refers other people because they can relate to something you've experienced, but it's also helpful in, if they need help with real estate related things that way, or like even death, like we talked about like a morgue, like, or how, you've had experience with a death there, and so that person that runs that place refers you because they know you've had that experience, and maybe you would be a good person to like be connecting on a personal level with that referral from past experience, things like that.
And Sarah also said it's important to put everything right into that referral maker every time she closes a client. Get them right in there.
Good job.
Yes. Otherwise, it's a big damn job, I'll tell you.
And always ask for that business. And certainly nobody's brought up those people that, when they ask on buy, sell, trade for a realtor, those are great advocates for you. Just need to take care of them and probably do more pop buys other than just a thank you on the thread on the buy, sell trades or something. You need to actually, reinforce that a little stronger, kind of dismiss them sometimes.
Anybody else from that group? Okay, well, thank you guys. Last group was group 6. Emily Ware, Jessica Walker, Laura Osborne, and Paulina Kozich. Which one of you ladies would like to speak up as well?
We had a really good conversation crawling around. We were kind of going off of like, okay, who's who, and to Sarah Pavel's point, she just said, making sure that, how can I help you? Laura Osborne in our group was saying that she's kind of on the council of like all the businesses and stuff in her little town that she lives in Springfield. And she spent a whole year really focusing on how can I help you? How can I help you? And then I was like, well, now is your opportunity to be like, okay, I've helped you now, kind of do like the mayor campaign. Like, what realtor do you, when you're thinking of a realtor, someone who wants to buy or sell, who are you thinking of? And kind of be a little salesy with it, not salesy, but, put your name out there like, okay, kind of, I've been helping you, but help me out kind of. And then Jessica can talk maybe real quick about, she was kind of confused on what influencers she can reach out, but she also is kind of like an influencer herself. Jess, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so we kind of discussed, I like I was saying before, like I'm kind of antisocial. I don't have a church on my phone. I don't go to the gym anymore. I work out from home kind of thing, but without realizing it, like my social media, my Instagram, my Facebook, I have a really big fitness following just from many years prior for what I used to do when I used to compete competitively. So kind of realizing if I just tap into, I'm really good with posting about fitness. If anyone follows me, they know that, diet, food, fitness, all that kind of stuff, but not so much.
You feel guilty all the time.
People say that all the time, and I say, don't feel guilty, but follow some healthy recipes. But no, but if I can just tap more into the big following that I do have from fitness, just from my competing days, and not even my competing days, the people now who, do some of these workouts with me in the mornings at home, or we have this huge bod group that we have where it's mainly females. I think there's one guy out of like 2,000 of us, but and tap into some of those groups. And so maybe not so much me looking for influencers, but since I am an influencer in a sense on that side of it, just tapping into those people and those connections that I have already built.
Stay in your lane, basically, is exactly what Ben was saying. Figure out what it is that your inch wide is. And I just have to tell you, Jessica, I see you everywhere. When you said you're antisocial, I was like, what? Because you're everywhere, all over that, and you're there in a really good way. People see you doing and growing and advocating and influencing, and that is, and you're building a business, whether you know it or not. So
Right.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I do post a lot of, food, fitness and stuff because that's what I've done for years. That's how I built my, my social media. That's how I have most of my friends on there from. But it's crazy how many people who have reached out to me who have been like, oh, I love that recipe. And then a week later, just be like, hey, can we talk real estate? So I don't always put real estate out there all the time. I try to, but people really, whether it's a recipe for food or gosh, where'd you get your water bottle from? Or, how do you work out from home? How do you stay motivated? And then last year, I did this class with you, Carol, and I had my best year with referral business from past clients and from social media. I have to go back and look, but I think I was over 90% all referral business. But anyway, so a lot of those connections that I had started somewhere with, let me get that recipe, or how do you stay motivated, or where do you run at, stuff like that. So it has definitely helped.
Good.
Great. Okay. Anybody else from your group?
No, we're done with, oh yeah, from your group. If anybody else wants to speak, otherwise we're done with the groups.
We've kind of wrapped this up. So let's end it with, you all watch the video. You have your action steps for the week. Add 5 new people to your database, call 5 A+ clients, write 10 personal notes, do's and don'ts of social media, decide on your social media plan, enter your completed action steps in Referral Maker. So entering your stuff in Referral Maker is super, super important, particularly for the sake of the group. So can you all just maybe make sure that you take a few minutes and do that? One reminder, I loved this format. It's going to be really good. As you guys can see, it's amazing. So next week when we break you off, you'll be in a group of different people. So it's going to be, and then we come back and it's 1 times 1 is 11 in this kind of an environment. So really, really glad for all of you. One other reminder, our Facebook page, that is what's it called? The Buffini.
The Good Life Group Buffini classes.
The Good Life Group Buffini classes. There's 5 people who are not on it yet. If you could just go accept the invitation that Rhonda sent you, and that's Allison, Jane, Serena, Jen Tucker, and Jessica Walker. You might just have missed the invitation, but that's where a lot of our conversations are going to go on. Get on that Facebook page, interact, talk, continue this conversation, meet this week with your accountability partner, meet with other people if you guys want to. Get your own Zoom identification that you guys just have a time that you jump onto that. And if you want to meet in person, if that's your thing and you can do that, that's fine. If not, whatever way that you can, make sure that you connect. Any questions before we go?
Each week, are we discussing? So we just discussed mod 1,
right?
But we just watched video for mod 2. So next week.
Yep. Next week we will.
Are we talking about mod 2?
Yep. Next week will be, this week you'll be working on module 2, which this kind of works better this way. And I had the same questions when Tim and I were doing the other class, but this week you'll be working on module 2 and putting all those things into place. And then we'll have this format will be the same next week. You'll get an email from Rhonda on, I think, Friday or a Saturday, and she'll ask you some questions. If you can send back some answers via email, just answer them, send them back to us, and we'll use those as kind of the feeder questions and the feeder conversation, so that we're letting you guys really run the format, the content that you need. Okay, everybody like this today?
Are we doing the full 2 hours next week?
Nope, we're doing an hour. We're going to send video. You'll do the video again, same way, and then we'll meet for an hour. Might be an hour and 10 minutes, but make sure you'll lot some time. So yeah, you guys good with all that?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, then watch the next video and we'll see you next Monday.
Okay.
Get together. See you guys.
Bye.
Everybody.
Call me.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.